Okay, so where to now? This is not a story about beating up on those white heterosexual men. This is a not let's hate the men kind of story. In fact, we're all in this together. We are all jointly producing this system that is biased, and so we're going to all have to collaborate to solve the problem. By the way, it is also not a fix the women story. We simply cannot say, the system is broken and you women go fix yourself. We cannot say you need to be more self-confident, you need to be less risk averse, you need to learn to negotiate better, or all the things that we are constantly hearing out there. We need to think about systemic change. And so my question is, what is the solution if it is not those things? And my answer is going to be innovation. That we simply cannot make progress if we continue to do the same old thing. And in fact, the business case in my mind is really, in some ways, perpetuating that system, because we're asking to make a case within the existing system instead of thinking about how to change the system. So I've been doing research for my entire career on innovation, not actually just having to do with gender issues, but all kinds of innovation. And one of the things that we know about innovation is that it's hard. No one in any organization says, yeah, innovation is super easy. In fact, they say it's very hard, and the fact that it's hard means that they put their best people on it, the brightest people, they invest resources, and the fact that it's difficult is actually what makes it exciting. And yet the moment we come to diversity, and you start talking about how hard it is to do, everyone looks at me and says, you're being Debbie Downer. It's not exciting. And I'm like, why not make this an innovation problem? Why not make this challenge as exciting as other innovation problems? So let me give you some examples of how we might be able to innovate around this. Here's an example from Village Capital. They are a social innovation accelerator. What does that mean? They take entrepreneurs into a cohort, they work with them over several weeks, and the goal is to help them make their businesses more viable. And there's training, but there's also peer mentoring. Now, at the end of the acceleration, a couple of those ventures are selected to get investment. And what Village Capital did, not actually with a gender lens in mind, said, you know, the way we normally decide on investments is through pitching, just like I showed you before, venture capital pitching. The way we normally do it is through pitching. We think that's kind of a tough way to make a decision, so we're going to do away with pitching. We're going to do better due diligence by having the actual participants, the entrepreneurs themselves, vote on who would get the funding. And what they found when they did this was that while only about 15% of the entrepreneurs who came into the program were in the program, 30 to 40% of those who were voted by their peers to get funding were women. So basically, we've changed the system and we're getting different gender outcomes because of it. It turns out pitching is a highly gendered, masculinized process. And if you get rid of it and you do something else, something different, you can get better outcomes.